AD, Anno Domini. If you were Muslim, it would be based on Muhammad. If you were Jewish, it would be BCE, before the Common Era. Got it? And then after Common Era. Make sense? So they don't actually use the religious figures so much. But it's sort of an interesting thing that our periods are completely random. If we were not a Christian nation, if we were not founded by a Christian group, we wouldn't have 7 days in a week. We would not have a subreal calendar. We would not have BC and AD. So whether you like Christianity or believe in it, your whole life is affected by religion. Isn't that exciting? By the way, in this class, we are going to talk about religion. Please do not be offended at any point. I already spoke about this very briefly. I'm just going to, real quick, just show it to you. The language that I use is European-based. When I teach history, I use European words like antiquity. What the heck does that mean? Antiquity. Well, that means stuff that happened a really long time ago. Like what? Well, Greeks and Romans. Well, Greeks and Romans. And? Hello? We have extremely ancient cities that are still being used that look almost exactly the same as they did, 1,000 years ago. In the Islam of the world, like in Saudi Arabia, they have an entire city. It's medieval.
That's awesome.
That's totally awesome. I want to own a house that used to belong to some guy, a couple hundred years ago. That'd be cool. Here's the thing. Is that really antiquity?
No.
We say, yes, it was built in the Middle Ages. They say, no, I'm living in it right now. Get it? That whole idea is extremely bizarre, and I already talked about dualism. Progress. How you measure progress is based on the values of the time period you are living in. Today, you have progress if you have growth in the sciences, your economics are good, you have something called civilization, although what that looks like we don't know, and human rights. Growth in human rights. Right? That's progress. If you turn this around and you look at progress through a completely different lens, like the environment and how well we're taking care of it, we get an F. We get an F. We are really bad. We have some of the worst environmental disasters that have happened in like the last, 50, 60 years or so. I'm not just talking about oil, I'm talking nuclear too. Think about it.
Oh yeah, the atomic bombs.
Oh yeah.
Chernobyl.
Exactly. Horrible and horrible environmental. Okay, how about spiritual? Have we made great leaps and bounds in understanding the world and our spirits and God and all this in the last, 50 years or so? No. Instead, we've said God doesn't exist and there is no such need of, you don't need religion anymore. So we dropped it off like it's some kind of unwanted baby.
Wow.
Think about it. We haven't made any great strides in religion in years. If you use that as a measuring stick, we're getting an F. And those are but 2 examples. How else do you measure progress?
Education.
There it is. Do you see that on my list? No. You need an educated populace. Oh, whoops. Yes, we missed that one.
Are there like 10 schools in Norfolk failing?
I'm sorry?
Are there like 10 schools in Norfolk failing at the state level?
Yeah. When you think about it, ask yourself this question. There are about 16 of you in this class. There are about 18, 19 in my A1 class. You, less than 40 of you, are the only students in the entire district taking AP World History who are looking at this thing through a non-Eurocentric viewpoint. You're it. You're the only ones. Ask yourself, is it not valuable to look at the world through something that is not European-centered, or does it not matter? history only be viewed through stages? Should we only group them together? For example, is the Industrial Revolution the only way I can look at that period of time? Or is there another name or another way I could group those items together? Because we're going to. Is there some other way that we can even describe the study of history? And finally, what can we do about the problem of Eurocentric history? Or alternatively, can we do anything about it? Or are we just stuck with this worldview? We're European-based. Oh well, that's it. Too bad.
Are we supposed to raise our hands or just write this down?
No, answer it. Verbally. Tell me what you're thinking. Yes, now it's time for you to talk to me, see how that works. Yes.
Okay, so,
What do you think?
about the Eurocentric history,
Go for it.
I don't exactly, I think we could, but I don't think we will.
Okay.
Because we're us. We don't make change. Not a lot of people do. And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon without a huge motivation.
So, because we've done it this way forever, that's how it shall remain.
Unless someone, steps up and makes a big deal about it.
We have only learned by lecture for years. So thus, I shall only teach you by lecture.
That's not exactly.
Yes.
Well, I don't think the fact that we've been learning it, like we've been learning about Eurocentric history for years, is the fact that a lot of what we do is Eurocentric based. Like you were talking about the weeks and the time and stuff. So if we don't have, and I think part of the reason America does this is because when you do something, you have to have something that everybody does and something that everybody studies. Because if you don't, then some people would be learning this and then other people would be learning that, and just it wouldn't be all the same.
I agree, but my question to you is this. You've now reached your 10th grade year, and there are 40 of you who will be taught in a different manner. That's it. Is there not some point when everybody should have their worldview shaken and look at it through a different way?
That's the way they want to use it.
They're not being given a choice, though. Yes?
I think that as of right now, it'd be difficult for our worldview to change because the most powerful countries in the world and whatnot, which pretty much decide how the history is viewed, are European based.
Until I start learning Chinese, yes. Which is soon. I need to learn Chinese because we all know they're going to be our overlords.
I'll have to welcome our new Chinese
Okay,
overlords.
I think it's kind of funny how they call us, the United States, the melting pot. However, we make people from different countries like Islam, all these other different countries, they come here and we're all stuck in this kind of place where they have to learn about Christ. They have to learn about the weeks and months. They can't really do what they want to do, and then we can all just gravitate to something else. We have to do this. We have to stay the same way. And they're still calling us the melting pot, which I think is just ironically hilarious.
I've got a question.
Have you seen the Simpsons episode where the cop goes up and he's talking to Homer Simpson and he says, oh yeah, I just, arrested these Chinese guys. They were setting off fireworks in February. Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
Get it?
Who said anything about learning about Christ?
Well, because you're not, because we're not allowed to teach religion. But the point is that when you're taught 7 days in a week, or you're taught how many minutes are in a day, or to call it BC and AD, we're teaching you religion. Because that's what it's based on. You're all like, but wait, it's a Christian church and state. It's funny, isn't it, when you think about it? Here's my question. Can we do anything about it? We could make it a required class, which is really sad for all the people who have to take it, who don't want to.
Maybe like an easier version.
A baby version. There you go. A one where you don't have to read 8 chapters in a week, or 2, yes.
Why is Eurocentric
take a nap. I am all about that, by the way. I think nap time would be great. They're stopping that practice. You know why?
Because of religion?
No, because American businessmen don't believe in that, and they would be calling in the middle of it. If you want to do business with an American, you work when they want you to.
That's ridiculous.
Is that okay?
No, not really.
Well, just change your culture.
Why would the Spaniard be like, hey man, no, I'm taking a siesta. Let me take my siesta and wait for my call.
Because then the American says, that's nice, I can call somebody else who doesn't have a siesta and I'll give them my business. How about the fact that English is a required language in many countries throughout the world, and yet last time I checked, most students get out of high school with barely knowing Spanish, let alone French, Chinese, Japanese, Swahili, German. Why do they have to change their worldview to match ours? Hello, Chinese overlords, people. Just saying. Why does the world have to change themselves to fit us? Why can't I'm not saying we should, but shouldn't you know about other cultures? Shouldn't you be able to appreciate when a Chinese person says to you, I don't work in February? Shouldn't you know why and say, oh, I'm sorry, man, I didn't mean to.
I understand that. I'm just saying we shouldn't have to not work in February.
But they're not learning that. You know, in the United States, we don't learn about other cultures. We learn about Eurocentric stuff, and that's it. Does that make sense?